Hey guys, good morning. It's Scott with Teaching to Lead, and I'm sitting here with Claudia Thompson.
Hi.
And hello. And Claudia and I recently met, so we were just spending some time getting to know each other a little bit. How are you today so far?
I'm doing great.
I know you have a really busy schedule, so thanks for making some time.
Sure.
Where are you off to after this?
I have to go to Sudbury
Sudbury.
for a
South?
director's meeting. Yes, I think that's south.
Mhm.
West.
Is
I
that,
still don't know anything past outside of the city.
is that BNI?
It's B&I related, yeah.
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 Claudia, very involved, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the work that she and we are involved in. BNI, networking, bringing people together. By the way, just for the record, BNI, do you find a lot of success in your own personal business development on the BNI front? I thought about getting more involved.
Absolutely. I think what I love the most about it is that it's not just for how to be a good member in BNI or how to be a good business person. It's also really about building and developing relationships. So I use it, all the tools that I learn in BNI, I use outside in my real life as well.
Perfect. And perfect segue into some of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to let you describe later more of Claudia. Claudia Connects, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as I've gotten to know Claudia, I've realized that is a perfect organization and name for you. Claudia seems amazing at bringing people together and putting herself out there. And one thing we were talking about a little while ago was the courage that it takes to put ourselves out there and do things differently. The dance is a good example. I'm not much of a dancer. So those who know me know that I'm not much of a dancer. But you were talking about earlier, let's start with that you'd done some dancing professionally or semi-professionally, and it took a little work to put yourself in front of audiences and whatnot. What was involved with some of that?
So I had a cousin when I was younger that would always, we both were signed up for dancing school when we were younger. So I would dance. I danced in like school productions, but she took it to the next level all the way to like Alvin Ailey, which is like a really like world-renowned dance company. And I just thought, okay, that's her thing. I guess I'm not good enough to do it, even though I really, really wanted to. So I just took the cheerleader path, and I was a cheerleader for like all of my schooling through college. And afterwards, I realized, how much, especially having a son, I wanted to, he did a lot of hip hop dancing here in the city. And I missed dancing. I missed performing. And I said, man, why am I not doing this? I wonder if there's got to be a place. So my friend Alvy was in a dance company for adults, on stage dance company. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this and see. I'll just audition. And I did pretty well. And I was dancing with girls that are like 10, 15 years younger than me. And I've been doing that ever since.
Was that part intimidating? Dancing
I had like butterflies in my stomach. I almost had to, vomit. I just felt like so anxious, and I was so worried about being judged and criticized, like I wasn't good enough. And I did better than I thought I was going to do. It was amazing. And then even after my first performance, the first time I had to get on stage, I was so nervous. I don't think I ate for like a couple of days before that. I was just so worried about messing up. Do I look like a fool? I'm older, and all of these things. And then, but getting through it, it was such a rush to actually be on stage. And I was so happy that I did it. And now I can't stop myself. And now I'm a part of 2 dance companies. I even have dance performances this weekend. Now I'm a part of a Bollywood dance troupe. If you had asked me 5 years ago, I would never have done that. So
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
And before we move past the dancing though, but isn't it amazing where we tell ourselves, you and I were just talking about this before, we tell ourselves a story of like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to be looking at me. What are they going to think of me? And in the end, 99.9 out of 100 times, is that even a number? Let's just say 100 out of 100 times, nothing bad happens. You get through it, and you probably did a lot better than you even thought.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I mean, there's been times, even if I didn't look as great as, I thought I might, or it didn't matter because I conquered a huge fear, which then opened the door for me to try other things that I was like, oh, this may not be so bad either.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just do what I want. If there's something I'm interested in, I'll just take it on.
Yeah, and that whole experience with the dance kind of catapulted you to try and do some of these other things, like getting in front of people, speaking. So you mentioned you teach too, right? You teach some classes?
Yeah, I've been taking on speaking more, but I teach classes for Kit, our mutual friend Kit, for Boston Speaks. So I do an effective networking course, but I'm also looking at doing some like work-life balance things and time management for sure. Yeah.
What's the response as far as your audience, your students, in terms of work-life balance? Well, let me ask it this way. Do you find a lot of people struggle in that area? Because I have a more specific question after you answer this.
So all I know is that people always ask me, how do you do it? Like, do you ever sleep? These are the questions I get all the time. And so anybody that's watching on my behalf is probably like, oh yeah. I ask her all the time, like, how does you do it? How is this, how do you stay awake? Whatever it is. How do you get your work done? And I really find that, like, just balancing, getting the things done that I have to do, and doing the things that I want to do are connected. They're like both like connected. If I do it like there's a task list and then I get to do the things that I enjoy, I think it doesn't work. So everything that I do, I really take pride and enjoy, and I really love doing them. So
I love that I love that answer, and I'm a little relieved you said that.
Yeah.
Because here's, and I share this with people sometimes too, that I think that work-life balance story, that whole moniker sometimes can play with our heads, because we think we have to do X amount in the work bucket and then X amount in the life or personal life bucket. And if we're not somewhere in that ballpark, we're doing something wrong or we're falling short. Yeah. And then I think it's one of those instances where we can turn that around against ourselves and say, oh, I don't have balance, or I'm spending too much time. Whereas what you're saying is, you're doing things you love, you're doing things you're good at and provide value at, and you have it all in one bucket. Is that right?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, and then do you feel like you make progress with some of your students? Does that mindset make an impact with them?
Yeah, so they reach out to me. They'll reach out to me and say, thank you, this was really great. I got a job, I got to talk to my boss about a raise or whatever it was, but they make the connection that they wanted to make. So in the follow-up, so I think that's really.
As a mom, as a family person, and you're close to your mother, sounds like she's amazing and the work that she does down in New York. Do you struggle though? I mean, let's get a little bit more nitty gritty. I mean, are there enough hours in the day or days in the week for you sometimes?
There's moments. So like this is show week for my performance, so there's a lot of rehearsals at night. I definitely like to go to sleep early, so I have to stay up later because we have tech and dress rehearsals, and then of course the performances. So this is one of those weeks, and then I also happen to have a ton of work. I've already had several meetings this morning, and I have more to go, and it's just one of those weeks. So sometimes it can be a lot. But again, that goes back to the time management piece of scheduling. I even schedule like a nap in or something, sometime where I have some downtime if I see it's becoming overwhelming. Because I do believe in holistic, the mind and the body, getting enough sleep, eating properly. All of those things are tied into having a really great day. So I want to make sure that my body is rested. And
can you help me with the sleep stuff?
Yes.
I've been really bad at that for like the last 6 months.
I used to struggle with it. I look at these past statuses on Facebook from like 10 years ago. It's like, oh, I got 3 hours of sleep, yay! Like, and I do that a lot. I did that a lot, and now I think I read The Sleep Revolution. We had Arianna Huffington when I was a director for Boston Businesswoman, and we had Arianna Huffington come for our conference, and she talked all about her sleep revolution, her book, and her practices of what she did at the Huffington Post offices, and a lot of that made a huge difference for me too.
Yeah, I think there's no question, and I don't look at it so much. I mean, the energy levels, but it's also about keeping your mind sharp too, right?
Absolutely.
Getting that kind of rest.
Because sleep deprivation is like equivalent to like being drunk or like being impaired. So I definitely started to discover that.
Yeah. to work on that too. So I'm going to check back in with you on that front.
Absolutely.
So let's spend the last couple minutes then. Claudia Connects, and I know you have your fingers in a lot of pots and you're doing a lot of amazing work, but let's give our viewers and your viewers and friends a flavor too for some of the other work that you're doing. So you're great at bringing people together, and what kind of events are you putting on? Or maybe share whatever you think is helpful, like along the lines of what you like to see in groups as you bring strangers or new people together.
Sure. So, what I love, I think, the most is bringing people together and not knowing what is going to come of it. So maybe they do business together. I remember 3 years ago we had an event, and a couple of guys started talking about doing a business together, like actually going into business together, and then they came back together and they said, "Oh, we met at one of your events," and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." I remember a guy and a girl came back, and they met at one of the events, and then they came to another different event. It was like a concert or like a band performing, and they had been there on a date because they met at one of my events. So I think bringing people together and not knowing what is going to be created, not having a set plan, but just kind of showing up, I think that's definitely some of the joy that I get in seeing what is created.
Now, you're probably really good at working a room or meeting a few new people. Do you see sometimes people at your events who struggle to do that? Because a lot of that can happen when people are good and connecting. Do you help people with that too, as far as how to network? And
I do. And I've thought about having a separate class for introverts or people that maybe feel awkward, but it really works out in the groups, in the classes, and a lot of times not leaving anyone by themselves. So going out of my way, or maybe even someone tells me they do something, and if I see someone else that came in that does something that could be a good complement to their business, I may introduce them, and then they take it from there. So really trying to make sure that nobody's standing there alone. It's not always a perfect science, especially if it's a larger event, but yeah.
I could see you working your way around the room, making sure everybody's connected and talking.
Yeah.
And so where do people find you? How do they find you, be it online, or are there other certain kind of events or organizations that you're part of where they can find more out about you?
Sure. So next Wednesday, actually, our other friend Kim Dawson and myself are going to be hosting an event at the Charles Mark from about 5:30 to 8 on next Wednesday. I think it's the 14th? 13th. I'm kidding. The 13th. I'm also teaching the next course in the series for Boston Speaks, which is the Effective Networking. So that is also on the 13th from 12 to 1:30 here at the CIC in Boston. And you can find me. I'm working on revamping my website right now. My web developer is actually in Mexico, so when she comes back, I will work with her on revamping my website. But you can always email me at Claudia@ClaudiaConnects.com. You can find me, Claudia Connects, on all the social media, and I have a Facebook page that's still active right now.
And for friends of mine, Claudia and I are now connected on Facebook, so feel free to jump through my page to find
Absolutely.
her. I really mean this. I think it's awesome what you're doing. I admire your approach for keeping busy, but also keeping a lot of your priorities and doing multiple things on the professional front, and also staying very tied with your family and being a good mom, daughter, everything else, sister, right?
Yep.
So, and I look forward to going to some of your events and learning more about you. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Okay, and hey everybody, thanks for whether you're watching this live now or later on. I appreciate it. As you know, through Teaching to Lead, it's always about bringing people, ideas, and thoughts and actions that can help us all get better in how we lead ourselves day to day. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you all again real soon.